Have you ever wondered why? No matter how many new habits you add, you still feel stuck. You wake up earlier. You read more books. You try meditation apps, cold showers, productivity hacks, and yet it's like stacking bricks on a shaky foundation. More doesn't fix broken. Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not about what you add. It's about what you remove. Unlearning is the hidden habit nobody talks about because it's not flashy. There's no dopamine rush from deleting, but the reality is the habits that weigh you down are costing you far more than any good habit can fix. And until you clear them out, you'll keep feeling like you're running in place. Today, I want to show you why unlearning is the key to real change, how it works, and the simple process you can start right now to free yourself from mental clutter. Let's start with the question, when was the last time you truly did less? Not took a break, not escaped on vacation. I'm talking about subtraction, actually removing a behavior, a belief, or a routine that no longer serves you. Most people don't. We live in a culture that worships addition. Read more, work more, wake up earlier, hustle harder. But nobody tells you that each habit, good or bad, competes for the same 24 hours of your day and the same mental bandwidth. If you never subtract, you're not building discipline, you're just rearranging chaos. I learned this the hard way years ago. I was obsessed with productivity. I read every book, followed every system. I built morning routines that looked like military schedules, and for a while, it felt like progress. But deep down, I was exhausted. I wasn't creating more space in my life. I was cramming more into it. It wasn't until I started tracking my days that I noticed something obvious. My biggest time leaks weren't the things I wasn't doing. They were the things I was doing without thinking, checking my phone every few minutes, saying yes to every request, multitasking, until I forgot what I was even working on. And that's when it clicked. If I didn't remove those habits, no amount of new habits would matter. That's the first principle of unlearning. Before you add, you must delete. Now, if you're watching this, you might already feel it. You're tired of feeling busy, but not better. You've tried stacking habits, but it's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. This is where unlearning changes everything. Let me give you a metaphor that helped me. Imagine your brain is a garden. Every thought, every habit is a plant. Some grow tall and strong, feeding you with purpose and energy. Others are weeds, harmless looking at first, but slowly they strangle the good plants. Most people think self-improvement is about planting more flowers, but if you never pull out the weeds, they win. They always win. Unlearning is weeding your mental garden. It's not glamorous. No one sees it, but it's the only way to create space for what matters. So, how do we start? Step 1. Identify your weeds. Take one day and write down what you actually do, not what you plan to do, what you really do. Every notification check, every unnecessary scroll, every "I'll just do this for a second" moment that turns into half an hour. You'll be shocked, and that's good, because awareness is the first cut of the blade. Step 2. Remove one weed. Just one. This is where people fail. They try to quit everything bad in one heroic move. It doesn't work. But if you pick one, let's say, checking your phone in bed, and replace it with nothing, just space, suddenly you feel it. The mental air clears. You can breathe again. And step 3, protect that space. Here's what most people don't understand. The point of unlearning isn't to make room for more habits. It's to rediscover the power of doing less, better. That empty space you carve out, guard it. That's where clarity lives. Now, I know this sounds simple, but simple doesn't mean easy, because here's the catch. Unlearning is uncomfortable. Why? Because your bad habits aren't random. They exist for a reason. They soothe, They distract. They keep you from facing the silence. When I first cut out my habit of constantly checking my phone, I felt restless, like something was missing. But what was really happening? I was finally hearing my own thoughts, and that's where the magic started. Because in that space, I realized I didn't need another hack. I didn't need another routine. I needed to stop numbing myself with noise, and maybe you do too. You see, the world will always try to sell you more. More apps, more planners, more must-do habits. But ask yourself, what if freedom doesn't come from more? What if it comes from less? There's a story I think about often, one that's not dramatic, not even impressive, but real. A friend of mine used to keep a list of 15 things he wanted to do every morning. 15. He'd wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, journal, read, exercise, cold shower, affirmations, you name it. One day he burned out. He quit all of it. For a month, he did nothing in the morning, except sit with a cup of coffee, just him and the quiet. And in that quiet, he realized half the habits he'd been forcing weren't his. They were borrowed from podcasts and YouTube videos. Now he has 2 morning habits: coffee and a notebook. That's it. He's happier than ever. And funny enough, he's also more productive than when he was doing it all. That's what unlearning does. It gives you your life back. And that's the message I want to hammer home before we move on. Unlearning isn't about losing discipline. It's about directing it. You stop chasing everything so you can finally focus on the few things that actually matter. So here's my challenge for you before we go deeper. Today, write down 1 habit to remove. Not 5, not 10, just 1. Something small but real, and commit to it for 7 days. Because when you subtract even 1 weed, you'll see how much light gets in. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds good, but how do I make sure I actually follow through? What if I quit halfway? That's exactly what we're going to talk about next. The 3 rules of sustainable unlearning, the ones that keep you from slipping back into old patterns. So, you've identified 1 thing to remove. Now comes the real question. How do you make sure you actually stick to it? That's where the 3 rules of sustainable unlearning come in. These are not tricks or hacks. They are principles. If you follow them, unlearning will stop feeling like quitting and start feeling like freedom. Rule number 1. Remove 1 thing at a time. Most people fail because they try to do everything at once. They'll say, I'm deleting social media, cutting out junk food, and waking up at 5 a.m. starting Monday. By Wednesday, they're back where they started, except now they're exhausted and convinced they lack discipline. Here's the truth. Discipline isn't the problem. Bandwidth is. Your brain needs to adapt to change. If you pick 1 habit to unlearn, you're not just removing it, you're also rewiring the triggers that make you do it. So pick 1, just 1. Delete it, sit with the discomfort, and when it feels normal, then you move to the next. Rule number 2, replace noise with space, not with more noise. This is where most people go wrong. They remove a habit and immediately fill the gap with another one. You delete Instagram, then suddenly you're on YouTube 3 hours a day. You quit 1 distraction and unconsciously swap it for another. Unlearning is about subtraction, not substitution. If you stop checking your phone in the morning, don't immediately replace it with reading 5 chapters of a book. Just do nothing. Sit in the stillness. Drink your coffee without a screen. Let your mind feel what empty space actually is. It will feel weird, but that's the point. Space feels foreign only because you've been drowning in noise for so long. And finally, rule number 3, defend your progress. Here's the thing. Bad habits don't die quietly. They come back disguised as just this once. You skip a day, and suddenly you're back where you started. So you need guardrails, not motivation. Guardrails. Simple rules that make backsliding harder. For example, if you're unlearning, checking your phone in bed, charge your phone in another room. If you're unlearning, saying yes to everything, create a rule that you always sleep on big decisions before answering. If you're unlearning constant multitasking, schedule specific focus blocks and close every other tab. Guardrails don't restrict you, they free you. They protect the space you fought to create. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what happens after I unlearn one habit? What then? That's when the real shift happens. Because once you remove just one bad habit, you'll feel it immediately. More time, more energy, more clarity, and that feeling becomes addictive. You realize you don't need to stack 20 new habits. You just need to keep pruning. And in the final part of this video, I'll show you why this mindset shift, this art of subtraction, isn't just a productivity trick, it's a way of life. And if you embrace it, it will change everything. Here's the part nobody tells you. Once you start unlearning, life doesn't just get simpler, it gets lighter. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer sprinting through a maze of habits that don't matter. You're not chasing the next shiny productivity hack. You're not drowning in noise. You've created space, and in that space, you finally see what's essential. This isn't about minimalism for the sake of minimalism. It's about focus. It's about having the mental clarity to choose what actually moves the needle in your life, and the courage to walk away from everything else. Because here's the truth. Success isn't built on what you add. It's revealed by what you subtract. Remember the garden metaphor. If you keep planting without pulling the weeds, nothing grows. But the moment you clear them out, even the smallest flower has room to bloom. Your life works the same way. So here's my challenge to you. This week, pick one thing to unlearn. Just one. Remove it. Protect the space it creates, and sit with it long enough to feel the difference. And when you do, you'll notice something powerful. You're not just changing your habits, you're changing who you are. Because unlearning isn't just about discipline, it's about identity. Every time you cut away what doesn't serve you, you uncover the person you were always meant to be. So stop asking, what else should I add? Start asking, what can I remove? Do that, and you won't just be more productive. You'll be free, and maybe, for the first time in a long time, you'll finally have the space to live.